Welcome to Golden Black Live with Tom Dienhart as we kick off the show, the September 23rd edition. Special guests today, by the way. We've got Dave Shondell, who is got a big weekend this weekend with the Boilermakers. Big night tonight, I should say, as the Boilermakers take on Minnesota. The 11th ranked Boilermakers take on the 8th ranked Golden Gophers. That will be an interesting one. Also, segment 3. Folks that Tom Dienhart know well, Tom Schott, Orlando Aiton, and Chris Pate will be talking memorabilia. It's really interesting. I think it'll be an interesting segment. We'll have some fun with that, just to talk about. They've got some NIL things going on, but also just collected. A lot of sports collectors out there, and that's a lot of a fun thing to be able to have some fun with, I should say, and we'll look forward to that as well. All right, I want to thank our sponsor, also Triple X on the Hill, but on the level of Purdue tradition. I had dinner there last night, Tom, at Triple X. Dwayne Purvis was outstanding. And they're on the hill, but on the level of Purdue tradition since 1929. We've had you and I have met there a few times. And State Farm agent Trent Johnson. Trent will be working hard this weekend, this Friday night, I think, and refereeing a game. And we appreciate Trent and his support. All right. With that introduction, Purdue, Florida Atlantic. I thought, Jeff Brom's comments, and you were standing there, I wasn't. Interesting, and maybe the body language of kind of, can you get past the hangover of what happened last week? As they say about turning the season to fall, which we're in now. It's about letting things go. Purdue needs to do that. One would think when the Owls come to town tomorrow night.
Yeah, the season has not obviously gotten off to an ideal start. I think we all realize that, Alan. At 1-2. And Jeff Brom talked about, I asked him, I said, well, what are you looking for from your team on Saturday? And got to learn how to finish. We got to finish. I think that's apparent from what we saw in the opener against Penn State. And of course, boy, Alan, last week, the total utter meltdown that occurred at Syracuse. Not once, but now twice, Purdue's led a team off the hook in a game that led very late. Probably should have won, Alan.
Yeah, no doubt.
But it didn't. Good teams find ways to win those games.
Yeah.
Oh, I always notice that. I'm watching NFL games. You watch you always go, oh man, they just found a way to win, didn't they? It didn't look pretty, but you know what? They found a way to make a play at the end and win. And Purdue's got to figure that out. This is still a very talented team. We all know that. A team that can still go a lot of great places. But now's the time to get all your screws tightened down. We're almost to October, buddy. Can you believe we're going to be 1/3 of the way through the season after Saturday?
Yeah.
So I don't want to get ahead of myself. So yeah, there's a lot of anticipation to see if this team can get that ship righted out. You want to level your record at 2-2 before October comes. I've said it many times. To me, October is probably going to be your make or break month for Boilermaker football. You got 4 games, 3 of which are on the road. The first 2, Allen, at Minnesota, at Maryland, right there, buddy. So you want to get some momentum Saturday, get a nice win so you feel better about yourself before you embark on, like I said, a very big month of October.
Yeah, you always say that well, and it's so true. Is this a good football team? I mean, it's interesting because you look at it and you say, if you count how many minutes Purdue is ahead, now Purdue was down in the second half against Syracuse by 10 points, but this team has all the makings of being right there. I mean, you've got an excellent quarterback, you've got a dynamic receiver, you've got a good enough defense, at least it appears to be. I guess time will tell if we say, is this at the end of the day? And you're so right. This season flies by once it starts, but Purdue's got to do some good things tomorrow night, one would think, against Florida Atlantic. Yeah,
Alan, the offense is averaging 477 yards. The defense is allowing 285 yards.
Yeah.
25th in the country, that defense is. They have a +1 turnover margin as well. I mean, I know sometimes people say stats are for losers, but it still sort of paints a nice, at least somewhat of a picture for you to judge a football team on. And I like how Purdue's responded to adversity. Alan, after O'Connell threw that horrendous pick 6 last Saturday, 25-15, I think the score was at that point.
Right.
I mean, you could fold your tent, and that place the roof on that place was going to blow off. They were going crazy, Alan. What's Purdue do, Alan? Bang, bang, they take the lead. Looked like they had the game won. So my point is, it's always a good sign for a football team, for a person in life, or whatever it is, to how you respond to adversity. And that was a heck of a response right there in a very hostile environment. So, yes, I still think it is a very good team, Alan. They've had some injury issues, obviously. Thursday night, Jeff Rom said there's going to be a lot of, quote, game time decisions. We all know who's been missing recently. Of course, King Daru missed last week with a calf injury. At the time, Alan, last week, Jeff Rom thought it could bleed into this week. So my guess is he's probably not going to play. Of course, the drama, the soap opera for Brock Thompson marches on into a fourth week. Will he play? Won't he play? Again, like King Daru, Alan, maybe Purdue thinks they can beat this team without Brock, get Brock healthy for October. That's my guess. I guess I'll be shocked if Brock plays. Of course, he hurt his knee against Penn State. So those are two big ones. Jalen Graham, I think his original timeline, Alan, for his knee issue was going to be probably the Minnesota game at the earliest. So I really don't think we'll see him obviously Saturday either. So those are three big ones right there. I've seen Jalen Graham after practices, Alan. He has nothing on his knees. I think it's a case where he's just trying to get healthy himself. There was no operation, obviously. There's no braces or anything. It's just a matter of resting, I think, for him. So, boy, he sure would help last week, but I don't want to keep rehashing last week. So those are three big ones right now. I don't think we'll probably see Saturday. To a lesser degree, the two other receivers, Elijah Canyon, Abdur Rahman Yassin. We haven't seen Yassin all year. And, of course, Elijah Canyon played early. Each of those guys is dealing with a knee. So maybe, Alan, this week, those two guys suit up and give Purdue a little bit more depth at receiver.
You know, we talk about great quarterbacks and comebacks, and Aidan OConnell has had that really even going back to 2019 when his first start, I think it was against Northwestern, leads Purdue back to a win in that game. He's done that several times in his career and had a chance and should have done it last week. And we're not going to go back to that. But this is a guy that's really done. There are some rumblings about his status for Saturday, not only on our message boards, but we've heard some things and who knows for sure whether Aidan OConnell will play. You can always look at the rumor mill and try to figure that one out. But it does beg the question about how this offense, and you watch these guys, Austin Burton probably will be the guy. He came in against Indiana State, but we saw two other quarterbacks in this. How does it change the dynamic of this thing? Let's say hypothetically that Aidan OConnell can't go Saturday night.
Yeah, and I remember back in 2019, O'Connell came in for an injured Jack Plummer against Nebraska and led him from a comeback.
Correct.
This guy does have something that nebulous, that intangible it factor. You love to have in your signal caller. Boy, yeah, we'll see what happens when I guess warm-ups start taking place Saturday. The team comes out in full, usually about 90 minutes before kickoff, maybe about 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
We'll see the full squad out there. Maybe we won't know for sure until then, Alan. But there's a lot of smoke out there, buddy.
Yeah.
And if for some reason number 16 can't go, Burton is the number 2 quarterback. Of course, he played 3 years at UCLA, Alan. Remember that. He did have one start out there back in 2019. He started against Oregon State. I chronicle his numbers in a notebook I posted today. So there's that. He's the most experienced reserve quarterback they've got. This is his 6th year, Alan. He's probably 24 years old.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we have Michael Alamo, a redshirt sophomore who we saw glimpses of in that Indiana State game. I think Alamo obviously is more talented than Burton, if you were to ask me. I think he's a better passer. A lot of people love how he throws the football, Alan. But he's got hardly any experience.
Yeah.
Do you want to give the reins to him in a game you got to win, Alan? You can't mess around. Florida Atlantic, I know it's a Conference USA team, but they have a lot of talent.
Yeah.
And you start messing around, have a couple turnovers, FAU scores on a couple big plays, all of a sudden you're in a ball game fighting for your life, and you're 1-2 already. It's those are your two candidates. Of course, Brady Allen, the true freshman, is the other quarterback. He's not going to play. So Burton, Alamo, to me, I got to go with the guy with the more season in Burton. If again this is true.
Yeah.
but we will see. I do like Alamo a lot, though, Alan. And this is an offense that is built to throw the football. Again, I think Alamo has the better arm of the two. So Purdue's going to have to throw the ball 40 or 45 times a game. Both these guys can probably do it. But it's I hope all this conjecture and speculation is wrong. And there's no upheaval at quarterback. But if there is, that's going to be the debate, Burton or Alamo.
It's selfishly from a fan standpoint. Aidan OConnell in his 6th year, I think, only has 9 games of eligibility left in the regular season. And my point is, you don't want to miss. And he's a kid that if he can play, he's going to play. He's a tough-minded young individual, and you just don't want to miss because he's really been special. I thought he was just fantastic outside of the one play against Syracuse. He is developing. I was skeptical a little bit. I probably couldn't wash the walk-on thing out of there. But, you start to look at this guy's record and what he's done, not only in 19, but even in 20 before he got hurt. They beat Iowa. I understand they lost Northwestern and a good Northwestern team at that time. But this guy has done some pretty amazing things. And Tom, you and I have talked about this. It's the fun part of our jobs. We talk about where does he fit in history. This is a guy that's is going to go on. He belongs in the cradle of quarterbacks. He's going to be and probably has a chance to be an NFL guy at some level. I mean, fair to say all these things about him?
I think he's going to be on an NFL roster next year. If he's drafted, how high does he get drafted, Alan? That's going to be an interesting development to watch unfold as NFL teams scrutinize him more and more. You always say, well, he's not a great athlete. Man, he can throw the football, Alan. And the NFL, they like those quarterbacks who can throw the football. Look at some of the guys who are trotting out now to start games in the NFL. So I think Aidan OConnell is going to cash a check. Will he get drafted? How high will he get drafted? That will be interesting. I do think he's going to have to be at least a late round pick. You think. Cradle of quarterbacks, Alan? Wow, man, I don't know, buddy. I'll leave that to you. I mean, I've seen a lot of football too, but has he done enough to earn a spot? I'm always skeptical about Curtis Painter being in the cradle of quarterbacks.
Yeah.
But maybe my bar is too high. It's like the Hall of Fame. There's a lot of very good baseball players, but it's not a Hall of Fame for very good baseball players. It's a Hall of Fame for great baseball players. Purdue's had a lot of very good quarterbacks. So I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see how this season unfolds. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe if Aidan OConnell gets him to a West Division title, for sure, he has his spot alongside Breeze, Dawson, and Phipps, and Herman and Everett and company. So we shall see. But yeah, special guy, great story. 2020, Alan. I think a lot of people were shocked. There was a quarterback battle in training camp, and Aidan OConnell beat Jack Plummer.
Yeah.
Wow, man. What's the coaching staff seen in this kid? Talked about they beat Iowa in the opener. Then they beat Illinois over in Champaign. Remember that pass he threw to David Bell late to get that final first down. Then he plays Northwestern. He gets hurt. Season over. Next year, he loses the job to Plummer.
Yeah.
And Plummer loses the job. OConnell now, Allen, has started, I counted up the last 12 games. I think Minnesota was his first start last year. So, yeah, he's a calming influence who knows this offense. And you got to think, Alan, if you're kneeling in that huddle, you look up into his eyes and you're an offensive player, you feel pretty good about it. And that's an intangible that's going to be hard to replace if he can't play, obviously.
Yeah, no doubt. There'll be storylines and there'll be a whole day of tailgating and all that kind of stuff at 7:30 start will keep us up really late tomorrow, which is you and I, at least for me, I'll speak for myself. I'm going to have to drink some Coke Zero in the second half.
I need my beauty sleep, Al. I can't stay.
Yeah, I know. We might not be in bed till about 3 a.m. the way things work out. But all right, Tom, we always appreciate your expert analysis of what is always an interesting storyline, that is Purdue football. So we're going to take a short break. Triple X and State Farm, we appreciate them as sponsors, and we will be back with Coach Dave Shondell. Game day for him, game night, I should say, as the Boilermakers take on Minnesota, and his number 11th ranked team has a big battle tonight at Holloway Gym, Beeland Court. So stay tuned. We'll be back in 2 minutes on Golden Black Live.